The crypto market is getting ready for something massive, and all of the signs are right in front of our face. So what we're going to do in today's market update is we're going to look at everything that's happening on the fundamental and the news side first, because there is a lot of catalysts there that are contributing to what's happening on the technical side with all of the prices. So far we have Bitcoin hitting new local highs. We have Ethereum recontesting its local highs. We have Solana skyrocketing the new local highs as well. We have other things like Maker and Near and Aerodrome and all these other cryptos that are back into a full-on moonshoot and rocket mode. And there's a lot to break down of just everything that's happening into the crypto markets, as well as why it's happening and where it can continue to go into the not so distant future. So if that sounds interesting, all that we ask is that you stick around for the entire length of this video, as there's going to be a lot of important information discussed the entire way through. And for anyone that's new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Brendan from Crypto 101, and we make updates all the time just like this one. And if you want to stay tuned on everything that's happening in the great world of crypto, we think that this is maybe a little bit biasly, we think that this is the best place to go ahead and do that. So let's break things down on the news front first. What in the world is happening, and why is Bitcoin on this sudden tear? Because if we actually look at prices just real fast and kind of zoom out to a daily chart, what we've actually seen here is that Bitcoin took this nasty spill from around 65,000 all the way down to around 53,000. And then what feels like kind of out of left field, Bitcoin just skyrocketed from 53K to where it's now13 at just above $66,000. So the real question that everyone is asking here is, why is Bitcoin up about $13,000 in the last week? And there's a couple of catalysts. Really, there's a couple of reasons and contributing factors as to what's causing this in the first place. First and foremost, we have the election favorites here in the United States this year, at least according to the polls, being very, very pro-crypto. And over the course of the last weekend, there's some really tragic events that happened with this. However, this actually bolstered Trump and his new VP-elect, J.D. Vance, chances of getting elected. And so the crypto market saw this and they said, hey, the two people that are really pro-crypto, their odds of getting elected just went up, and thus the crypto market is going to have a positive response to the two people who are going to be the most bullish for the cryptocurrency space. So the crypto markets reacted accordingly to this. And for people that don't know, there's a couple of clips and sayings and articles going around that just show how pro-crypto previous President Donald Trump is and his new VP-elect J.D. Vance are. They seem to both really, really want to ensure the safety and security and growth of the crypto space. Again, this is not something to get political, but they seem to be kind of the crypto market's favorites to this topic, especially when their opposition is a lot harder, more hard-tuned when it comes to crypto. So this is catalyst number one. Again, apolitical here, just saying, hey, the crypto market likes the chances of these people getting a higher chance of getting elected, because they seem to want to bolster the crypto market the most, and they seem to care about it the most, especially when you have like the SEC's Gary Gensler, who is very anti-crypto, and if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance get elected, Gensler would be out of there. Now, the fact of the matter here is it wouldn't just be these two coming in. I think with this, there's a lot of chatter that Trump is looking at appointing potentially Jamie Dimon, into his cabinet or into some sort of part of his team. Now, for people who aren't familiar with Jamie Dimon, he is the CEO over at JP Morgan, who needs no introduction, and people are eating this up because previously Jamie Dimon has been pretty anti-crypto, pretty anti-Bitcoin, but according to Trump here, he has quote-unquote changed his tune, which would be a massive win for the crypto space. He's one of the last TradFi players who has been outspoken against Bitcoin. And if he has pivoted, which his company, JP Morgan, has already pivoted, they're already working with crypto stuff, but if he has pivoted, he would be one of the last TradFi, like major TradFi players to go ahead and jump ship into the pretty much just the pro-Bitcoin argument. So people are looking at this and going, man, this guy knows what he's doing from a financial perspective. He has connections all around the world. And if he's turned pro-Bitcoin, which is what Trump's saying that he's done here, this would be just further a further argument, a further catalyst towards the promotion of cryptocurrency. It's someone who's been deeply ingrained in the financial world for years now. So if this is true and if this happens, this would be something that is massive. And again, people are responding pretty positively to this. Now, in other news, another catalyst, Bitcoin's not the only thing that's really doing well here. I'm sure, as you have probably seen on the charts in the last week or so here, we can kind of just briefly look at this daily chart and see that Bitcoin's up over 20% in the last week. Ethereum's up over 20% in the last week. Solana, I think, is now pushing 30 or 40%. It's up over 42% in the last 2 weeks. Maker is another thing that's been skyrocketing, over 40%. Same thing with Near, and a lot of other altcoins as well. And a lot of the reason that this is happening is because it's more than just positive news for Bitcoin. This is positive news for the entire crypto space. We saw the Solana ETFs getting submitted from a couple different TradFi players such as Van Eck and 21 Shares from ARK and other people like that. But it also looks like the Ethereum spot ETFs are going to begin trading as early as next Tuesday. So what this would mean is that if they do begin trading next Tuesday and they see the inflows that people are expecting them to do, which could be around $5 billion, this would have a massive impact on the price of Ethereum. A lot of people are saying that this would bring Ethereum to a new all-time high of around $5,000, and I think that that's something that's in the world of possibility. So again, we're not financial advisors over here. We're not giving you any kind of financial advice or anything like that. But I have seen that number floating around quite a bit, and it makes sense. And I believe what they're saying here, again, I wish I had the quote in front of me. And actually, here it is. The inflows, according to Citigroup, are projected to be at least 30 to 35% of those of what we saw of the Bitcoin spot ETF. An inflow of between 4.7 billion to 5.4 billion within the first 6 months of the launch. So by the end of this year, they're saying, hey, we could see roughly $5 billion in inflows into this Ethereum spot ETF. We saw about triple that when Bitcoin had its ETF launch, right? We saw about 15 billion, and Ethereum is about a third the market cap of what Bitcoin is. So if we divide it by 3, we could maybe see 5 billion. And if we do see that 5 billion, which would be on track to what would make sense, at least according to Citigroup, and I would agree with it, then we could very well have a new high for Ethereum. Not just a new cycle high above $4,000, but a new all-time high, which could potentially be above $5,000. So I'd love to see this. I think the one last thing that a lot of people are waiting on here is waiting to see if Grayscale is going to officially lower their fees. And from the way that I've looked at this, and from what I understand this here, is that Grayscale is going to have 2 different Ethereum ETFs. They're going to have their traditional Ethereum, spot Ethereum ETF, which is going to have, I believe, a 2.5% fee. And I believe that they're going to have a second one that is going to be called the mini Ethereum Trust or something along those lines, which is going to have a substantially lowered fee, which I believe is what's being referenced right here. So they kind of talk about this in this whole section. I'll leave it on the screen if you want to read through this. I'll even make it a little bit bigger as I'm talking. You can go ahead and do that. But essentially, the intended sponsor fee for the Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust is now down from 0.25%, so 0.25%, to 0.15%, making it very, very competitive. Now, again, they have their traditional one, which is, again, Grayscale is set to convert its Ethereum Trust, ETH, with about 10 billion in assets under management to an ETF, and the fee for that product is set to remain at the 2.5% that we were saying earlier. So again, they have their Ethereum Trust, and then they have the Ethereum Mini Trust, 2 separate things. One is going to have a 0.15% fee structure, and the other one is going to have, the traditional one is going to have a 2.5% fee structure. Now, the reason that I bring this up for people who are going, Brendan, what in the world are you talking about? Why does this matter? That's because the average fee structure, as you can see over here, from all these other players is 0.19% for Franklin Templeton, 0.2% for Van Eck, 0.2% for Bitwise, 0.21% for 21 Shares. The average fee structure over here is around 0.2%. So the fact that they have one ETF that has a 2.5% fee structure, over 10 times that of what many of the other players are, will not incentivize people to hold. In fact, it will do the opposite, and this is what we saw with the Bitcoin ETF, is that it will incentivize people to sell, because they're going to look at this and they're going to go, why in the world would I keep my Ethereum with a 2.5% fee structure if I can go to anyone else, anywhere else, and get a tenth of that for my fee structure? So what could happen here if this remains, if people can't kind of switch over to the mini trust without any kind of like selling pressure, what could happen here is we see exactly what happened to Bitcoin with a little bit of a short-term sell-off when the ETF launches, as people are either taking profits from being in this for years, or they're even selling from their Grayscale Ethereum trust into some sort of other ETF, where again, the fees are substantially lower. So something that could be potentially short-term bearish and the long-term bullish. That's the way that I look at this, is that maybe, I hope not, right? I hope I'm wrong about this, but we saw it with the Bitcoin ETF, that we saw a short-term sell-off into a very long-term upside move for Bitcoin. So again, I think net positive from this thing is very clearly going to be a bullish thing in my opinion. And, worst case, I think that we see maybe some sort of shorter-term pullback into a longer-term uptrend continuation. And that's really the way that I'm looking at the crypto markets right now. Now, as I said earlier, we're looking at the charts over here, and we have Bitcoin that's pushing up into the $66,000 area. This thing looks like it wants to go retest the highs. We're already seeing Ethereum do a very, very similar thing. It also looks like it wants to start retesting some of these highs. With Solana, this thing is moving. It is outpacing Bitcoin and Ethereum still. It's been one of the top performers of this cycle in terms of like mid to large caps. We also have Maker that's on the move. I have seen Near, which has really been on the move as well over here, and a couple of other cryptos. Something else that we've kind of noticed over here is that it's not just the large caps, as we said earlier, that are the ones moving. I mean, you look at just about anything on the right side of my screen over here, which is a little bit boxed off, but just about everything is green. Here we have Radium, which is up 11%, Jupiter, which is up 6%, even like Coinbase, the stock is up 7.5% almost today. You have Uniswap, which is green, Say, which is green, Ondo, which is green, Maple, which is green, Matic, Optimism. Doesn't matter what kind of crypto space we're looking at, all verticals of all sizes of the crypto industry are, just kind of tearing at the moment, which is a great thing to see. So the crypto market is looking really good. I hope everyone did enjoy this video. And real quick, if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening in the great world of crypto, we have a bunch of great communities over here that all of you can get plugged into. So if you are looking for a crypto community, definitely go ahead and check the links in the description down below. Check us out at Crypt Nation. You can also check us out on the Crypto 101 podcast YouTube channel, which is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But that's going to round us out for this week's market update. Thank you all for watching, and until next week, I'm going to see all of you at the same time, same place, very soon.